Good afternoon, scholars. Happy Thursday. We've got a lot to discuss. We've got a lot to celebrate. Let's start with what we're going to celebrate. 84% turn-in rate. It's up 11% from the day before. I'm just blown away by the effort and the thoughtfulness and the responsibility and discipline that you're demonstrating. This is huge. It's among the very highest in all of Vista College Prep, and I don't have the data, but I'm sure it's among the highest in the state. I would expect like top private high schools to have this many students knocking out their work from home. So just super proud of you guys. Keep it up. Let's look at yesterday's assignment. For our first couple questions, we're going to look at Mita's answers for the comprehension questions because I thought he did a pretty darn good job. All right, so Buck's desire in the opening paragraph. Yeah, Bond nails it. It's his desire to kill. It's like this deep desire to kill. It's like this bloodlust. He kind of goes off track and compares it to soldiers and hunters, and more so than him wanting to be the leader at this point. It's that just desire for blood that is at definitely the core of dogs and wolves and even a little bit of men, which is why hunting is so appealing to so many people, and fighting, boxing and things like that. Even, I don't know, I won't go off on a tangent, but good answer, Bah. He's right on number 2. It was Spitz, who's the one who, he's so clever. He broke off from the pack while the rest of the dogs were running one way. He went off by himself another way, and he got the jump on the rabbit and killed it, which immediately Buck charges him, and boom, they start fighting. Bah also really describes Spitz's fighting style well. He's very strategic. It said he matches the momentum of his other opponent and keeps in his mind that they're both passionate. So he has to be extra stubborn so he can win. He always ends up winning, but he almost ends up, I think he meant almost. He almost ends up winning, but not for long. Yeah, Spitz is a very smart fighter. He never leaves any openings. He's good at like dodging and attacking back. That's the husky style of fighting that some people mentioned without really describing it in depth what it means. It means to be really defensive and really evasive and hard to hit, and you pick your shots well. As we look at the focus question, we're going to do two different sample analysis, comparing two different scholars' work. All right, so take a look at these two examples. And even if you only read both of their assertions and their context, you don't have to dive into the evidence. I really want you to focus on their assertions of what they're going to prove. The one on the left says that Buck was able to defeat Spitz because Buck thought to do the unexpected and quickly change his actions to be unexpected, leaving Spitz off guard. The one on the right argues, I got to reverse my directions. The one on the right says Buck was able to use his creativity and intelligence to finally beat Spitz. Which one is a stronger assertion if you're trying to prove a point? Which one would you consider a stronger assertion if you're trying to prove your point? And what makes it stronger? All right, I think time is up. The one on the right, the one on the left, the writing on the left is super clear. It's convincing, it's informative, it's really easy to follow. This is really good writing on the left. But it's not an argument. It's not making a claim, right? To make a claim, you have to make an argument that has to be proven. It has to be debated. The one on the left came close. It said that he was able to defeat Spitz because he thought to do something unexpected and quickly change his guard, right? So saying he did something unexpected, how would you prove that? You could prove it just with one sentence. You could find the line that says Spitz was caught off guard. Boom, and you proved it. It's not truly an assertion. It's not truly a claim if you can fully prove it just by showing the sentence. If it can be proven just by showing the sentence, then really you just wrote a summary. You just explained what's happened, and then you say, "See, look, I told you that's what happened." The one on the right makes a debatable adjective that has to be proven. What to what's well, my bad. In this case, it's a noun. Creativity and intelligence, right? But if she was to describe Buck as creative and intelligent, that has to be proven. Because even if that has to be proven with evidence and analysis. Because if the author on the right said Buck is creative and he's intelligent, right? Okay, so what evidence do you have? He rushed as though attempting the old shoulder trick, but at the last instant swept low to the snow and in. His teeth closed on Spitz's foreleg. There was a crunch of breaking bone, and the white dog faced him on three legs. Right, now, this quote's a little bit long. It could have been cut off. But so this author is saying that Buck is creative, that he's intelligent. Then they provided that evidence. It still has to be explained, though, with your analysis. This explains that Buck was able to use his intelligence and imagination to manipulate the fight so it would be in his favor. So because now she brought it home to show how this evidence proves that Buck is creative and intelligent. To do so, you have to have debatable words in your assertion, words that have to be proven. So my feedback for today is use debatable adjectives in your assertions, something that you have to prove with your evidence and, more importantly, with your analysis. Okay? Take a second right now to pull up your assertion from yesterday, the work that you turned in, and compare it to, sorry guys, technical issues. Compare your assertion with the assertion on the right here. Did your assertion have words that had to be argued, that would have to be proven in a debate? Or did your assertion just kind of summarize what Buck did and it wouldn't require you to prove it with analysis? What you're going to do today in your feedback box that I will put at the top of this page, the feedback box that goes in at the top of every assignment, write down today's focus. Again, the focus is assertions need debatable adjectives. Assertions need debatable adjectives. That's today's feedback. Copy down that feedback, and I want you to do a quick reflection. Did your assertion yesterday, was it debatable? Did you have to prove it because you used strong adjectives? Or did you just write a summary? It's not really debatable. You can just prove it by, you just did a good summary and it can be proven with a quote. Okay? So in today's feedback box, this statement needs to be on there, but then also a quick reflection on whether your assertion from yesterday was debatable or if it was a summary. You just kind of summarized what happened. All right? All right, let's walk through today's lesson. We're coming up on our mid-unit assessment. And the mid-unit performance task is going to ask you this prompt right here. What has enabled Buck to transform from the king of Judge Miller's estate to the head dog of the sled team? In order to receive full credit, evaluate London's craft and use evidence from at least two of the sections of text provided. So I'm going to provide you two different sections, one from the beginning and one from the end. And you're going to argue what enabled Buck to change from the beginning of the book to the end of the book. This is why I'm really pushing you on making sure that your assertions are debatable and they have to be proven, and you're not just summarizing what happened. Okay? An example of a summary would you say, like, Buck learned from the other sled dogs, right? Is that true? Yes. Is that important? Yes. Would I have to really prove that with something more than just a quote? Nope. I could just show you quotes to say Buck learned from Dave, Buck learned from Saul X, Buck learned from Perot or Francois, right? That wouldn't have to be proven. So we're going to look at this exemplar, and your task while you read this is going to be to break it down sentence by sentence of which of the three jobs, which I'm going to go over in a second, is each sentence covering. Okay? Here are the three types of sentences you're going to find in this writing and that we should find in your own writing. There should be sentences that are the reader's or your claims, or what you believe, your opinions. Basically, what the reader realizes about Buck as they're answering this question. There should be sentences that focus on the author's craft. The question we ask ourselves in the sentences about the author's craft is, how did London get the reader to that realization, right? I think about this when you read a book and you connect with it. It's really like if you watch basketball, it's kind of like when you see an alley-oop pass, right? In an alley-oop pass, one player throws up a great pass to the other one. The other one has to catch it, though, and slam dunk it. This is the relationship between readers and authors. Authors are the ones who throw the alley-oop pass, right? They're the ones who write the words. They set it up so that you can have the realization. So they throw the pass, but you still have to catch it and dunk it, right? So they lay the groundwork, but you have to finish it. You have to read it. You have to make those realizations. When we don't understand what's going on in a book, we're basically dropping an alley-oop pass. It's there. We're just not catching it. We're not picking up on it. So this is what we do whenever we have a literary analysis writing like this. We're asked to answer a question, and then we're also asked, how did the author show you that? Okay? In between, we provide some context or evidence to catch the reader up to where we're trying to get them to. Every single one of these sentences is going to be red, green, or yellow. Your job is to color code each one. Again, if it's red, it's the reader's claims about Buck and what they're realizing to answer the question. If it's green, it's them breaking down how Jack London showed them that. What did he do to make them realize that? And if it's yellow, it's context or facts, just to kind of catch you up. There's no really strong opinion. It's just context, okay? I'll model the first two paragraphs because I really want this to be clear to you guys. All right, let's start back with the prompt. What has enabled Buck to transform from the king of Judge Miller's estate to the head dog of the sled team? In order to receive full credit, evaluate London's craft and use evidence from at least two of the sections of the text provided. All right, here we go. Again, I'm thinking, is this what the reader realizes? Is this the reader breaking down how London made them realize that? Or is it just facts or context, no real opinion? Buck has been able to transform from the king of Judge Miller's estate to head dog of the sled team because of this new environment, because in this new environment, his instincts have emerged to change him from a docile, there's that adjective, guys. That's the point they're going to prove. Docile means friendly and non-threatening. From a docile pet to a vibrant and energetic leader. You see those strong adjectives in there? Those are going to have to be proven. Okay, so I'm looking at this. I definitely see this isn't context because I see an opinion in here. It's also not discussing London or what he did. So this should be highlighted in red because this is the reader's claims about Buck. Next sentence. London suggests that Buck always had these traits within him, but he was only able to access them in nature. London. All right. So what do you think, guys? Is this going to be red? It's the reader's claims on Buck. Is this going to be yellow? Some context or information to catch us up? Or is this going to be green? This is the reader explaining how London made him realize, or her realize what they did. This is going to be green because it's breaking down London's craft, right? Because right there, the craft that he shows right there, he gives a quote. He's showing, see the words that London used. That's how I realized that. Let's look at one more sentence. Well, we'll keep going. London's shift in language, especially when describing Buck, helps the reader see this change. What do you got, guys? Red, green, yellow. This is going to be green. This is breaking down the author's craft. How did London show the reader that? How did London make the reader have this realization? Shall we keep going? Because I do want to get to a sentence that's yellow. There's not going to be as many, but let's get to at least one. When the reader first meets Buck, he is Judge Miller's pet, described as king of the judge's estate. What do we think? Is this the author making a claim? Is this context or just a fact without a real opinion, or is this the reader breaking down London's moves or his craft? Yeah, interestingly enough, this paragraph actually starts off with some context. It's a context hook, which is a move that you're going to focus on later. But yeah, they're not starting off this paragraph with the strong claim. They're starting off with context before they get to their point. As a result of this title, Buck was able to plunge into the swimming tank or went hunting with the judge's sons or lay on his back whenever he pleased. What do you think? Red, is this what the reader realized? Green, is this how London did it? Or is this yellow? Facts, just to catch the reader up. This one could be debatable. Right? Because we definitely have some evidence here about the stuff that he did. There's also an opinion here, though. It's saying as a result, because he had this title, he got to do all this stuff. I'm going to lean towards yellow on this one, but there's a little bit of opinion in there, but it is mainly facts to catch you up. London notes that Buck did not earn the title of king, London notes that Buck did not earn the title of king and the comforts that come with it. However, they came because Buck's father had been Judge Miller's favorite dog and allowed Buck to live the life of an aristocrat. Scholars we're going to break this down into stop it, however. So, because that's a semicolon serves the same function of a period. It's an end mark. But it connects two sentences that are related. So let's treat this as one sentence. London notes that Buck did not earn the title of king and the comforts that come with it. What color are we going? Yes. If it's discussing London, that's a pretty big clue that this is an author's craft, because boom, he threw in the quote, the word king, right? So he's showing you the moves that he did. It's a certain word that the author used. London put that word in quotes because he was kind of being sarcastic. Now let's look at the second part. They came because Buck's father had been Miller's favorite judge and allowed Buck to live the life of an aristocrat. Well, if that aristocrat is in quotes, that means this is also another talking about what London did. So this is also a breaking down of how he showed that, right? He's using specific words like king and aristocrat. So this is going to be green because it's discussing what London did. Buck never encountered danger, hunger, or pain. Is that the author's claim? Is that a no opinion to some context? Or is that an author's craft move? This is more of a summary, right? You could easily prove that. You wouldn't need analysis for it. In an environment that allows him a life of ease, Buck accepts. This one's a judgment. This is a judgment on Buck's life and his reaction to it. So it's not yellow because it's not just facts. It's also not discussing how London showed that. This is the author's take. So we're going to go red here. I'm the author. I mean the reader. I don't want you to mix up London. And when I say the author, I mean the person who wrote this. London illustrates this ease through his word choice, describing Buck as pampered and who was willing to trust men he knew even though he was being kidnapped. What color are we going with here? Yeah, this one's green. So if we pause and we look back so far, we can reread these sentences, and again, any sentence that is an opinion of the person writing that would have to be proven, that's going to go red. Any sentence that is breaking down how London helped them form that opinion, what moves did London do, that's green. Any sentences that are just kind of a summary, that's just it's just evidence or facts to help catch you up, but there's no really strong opinion in there, that's going to go yellow. All right, you guys are going to finish these last two paragraphs on your own, color code it. Miss McKinney will be in office hours to help break it down with you. And once you've color coded this, I want you to take a look at it overall and do a reflection. What is one similarity between the author's literary analysis that we just read? What is one similarity between the writing that you do and the writing that you just read? Because the one we just read is like an amazing example of writing. What's one similarity that you have? So what's a good thing that you do that you notice this author also did? You're going to write that down right here. It's what's a strength and a habit that both of you and this author have. Your second reflection question is what's the difference between this author's literary analysis writing and your own? So in reading that example, if there's stuff that you see them doing that you don't do, moves that they do that you don't use, that's the area of growth that you're going to focus on when it's time for you to knock out this essay next week, okay? One thing I think a lot of you will pick up on is you're probably going to see a lot of you also provide good context when it's necessary, or you also make strong claims. One thing that's been lacking throughout the year when we do lit analysis writings is the green sentences, where we really break down how the author got us to those realizations. How the author threw that alley-oop pass. Breaking down the moves that the author did, whether it's the descriptions that they use, the dialogue that they wrote for the characters, the there's a lot of different moves, and we'll discuss this more when we start to write the essay. But one thing that's been lacking throughout the years is a discussion of the author's craft. So I'm really hoping that this is helpful so that you can see kind of how that's done. And I'm looking forward to seeing your reflections, right? This assignment won't take super long. It's just kind of highlighting and then doing your reflections. So make sure that you knock out your Lexia minutes today. Your guys' math turn-in rate is through the roof. Your literacy turn-in rate is through the roof. They're excellent. We're really lagging in Lexia, right? So make sure you get into Lexia today. Log your 30 minutes, and let's have our Lexia numbers just as good as our math and lit, because Lexia is going over super important skills that are going to make you much better readers and much better writers. And those writing skills, guys, I know they're little skills that they're teaching you. They're important, right? As someone who used to select people to get into college programs, to scholarships, whenever I would see writing that just made lots of little mistakes, it was clear that the writer didn't understand the grammar or the punctuation rules. It affected my decision on whether they should get that scholarship or not, right? So these little rules matter. We don't go over them enough in our day-to-day lessons at BCP. So make sure you're going into Lexia because it's really valuable stuff. All right. All right. Today's video was a little bit longer. I thought this was important for me to model this kind of complex skill, but I know that you can do it. And I'm looking forward to seeing your work. You guys have a great rest of your day. We got one more day tomorrow. I will see you then.